Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode. And before we start, I really have to get something off my chest because I thought we were all buddies here, and then you guys go off and request this kind of junk. Seriously, what do you think about the CDI game that was ported from an already abysmal game? Anyway, you wanted it, now you're getting it. Here is Rise of the Robots for the CDI. For the few out there who've never heard of Rise of the Robots, it's a fighting game that was released in 1994 for pretty much every system that was out at the time. And it was a game that originally emphasized graphics way too much for its own good. Now the CDI version, which came out a year later, starts off nice enough with a CGI intro. It doesn't look as impressive anymore, but at least it sounds great, as this version of the game actually features Brian May's music for more than 2 seconds like in most other versions. It's nice of them to put the highlight of the game right at the beginning. In the main menu you can either choose to play alone in the briefing or training modes, or play with 2 players. I didn't get a chance to try it out though, as for one I'd probably need to pay someone to actually play this game with me, and 2 it doesn't even work. I think it only supports the splitter, which I don't have, but I tried it with 3 different units and the second input port is just not read by this game. Then there's the options menu, and wow, is that cumbersome. You have to go through each option every time you want to set a single thing. Very poor design. Finally, there's the exit button, and you'll love this option. It's my favorite by far in this game. Nothing beats it. Well, except maybe the intro. That one has better music. If you do end up accidentally going to the briefing mode, you go to the actual fights. First you get to fight a builder robot. Interesting. That looks exactly like the thing Ripley used in Aliens. You'll see that none of the robots are very original or interesting for that matter. Oh, and yeah, I say robots, as they are not characters, since you can only pick the cyborg. Player 2 should be able to choose out of the others though. But we can play as player 2, so screw that. The loading times in this game are pretty bad too for a CDI game. Also, the time it takes to actually initiate a battle takes way too long. The graphics, the big selling point of this game, aren't too great in this version either. I think they actually removed some frames of animations and it looks very jerky. Worse is that they tried to add a reflective surface or something just like in other versions, but it's completely screwed up. It kinda looks like they're floating. Also note the life bars. They couldn't even get that right in this version. It should start out green and gradually go red depending on how much energy is left. Here it's just always red. And then there's the sound, and well, it's crap. It has so few effects, as you have so few moves to begin with. Let's turn on the music instead and see how that goes. To do that we of course need to go through that whole stupid options menu again. Were they trying to piss gamers off? Anyway, here we are, music, set it to that. Now start a new game. Great, now the sound effects are gone. That's really lame. The music however is pretty decent, certainly compared to the horrendous sound effects. So you fight a bunch of uninspired robots, and this is on hard mode by the way, and well, it's just not fun at all. You only have one attack button. You hold it to charge power and then push a direction to initiate an attack. Forward is a punch for example, and back is a kick. Wait, screw the example, that's pretty much a whole freaking moveset right there. There are in fact special moves, and I did manage to pull off a headbutt just once, but I have no idea how to actually do them. I think the timing on them is really messed up, and in fact normal moves work well enough to cheap your way to victory, so why even bother trying them out. There are also no finishing moves or anything, so you have to make do with what you've got. Yeah, right in the robo balls. You can also block by either holding back on the D-pad or by hitting button 2. This however often causes you to pause the game instead, because pushing 1 and 2 together does just that. It's much easier to hit back, but that also makes you walk backwards, which in turn makes it harder for you to hit your opponent. In short, both ways to block suck. You'll also be at the left side of the screen at all times. You cannot jump over your opponents, which they had invented like 10 years before this game already. In general, it's a very boring and bland game. It also sucks that you have to start over once you die. Imagine when you're at the final boss and die just before it does. Yeah, no comment there. The CDI port is a lazy job. What's really strange is that it doesn't even build on the strong points of the game, the presentation. And what's even stranger is that it says it needs the digital video cartridge, but in actuality it plays just the same without it. Really weird, and I wonder what went on with this port when they were making it. Ironically, this is the best fighting game for the CDI, but that's just because it's the only one on there. Just avoid this game, it's absolute shit, even for CDI standards, and that's a true accomplishment. For collectors, yeah, it should be easy to find, and for cheap too. Not many people want to keep a hold of this one. This game in general, no matter which version you play, flat out sucks, and I have very little respect for it. I mean, there is a line between smart marketing and flat out lies, and these guys bulldozed right over that border and went straight on to settle in Scam City. This is one of the most hyped up games ever and had fake claims all over it. They even went as far as to claim that it would be better than Street Fighter 2. Now if you weren't around back then, can you just imagine what kind of commotion that must have given? The media went all crazy over it, and then it was a big letdown to everyone. Now, of course, a lot of suckers still bought it anyway, and I can totally appreciate the lesson that such a game can teach us. Don't give in to hype. Look how a game turns out before you go off and buy it. Remember Devil May Cry 2 for example, or Fable? Now don't get me wrong, those games are way better than Rise of the Robots. I'm just saying that those games were a big letdown too, with all the hype preceding them. This game though is far worse, both in the amount of hype and quality. So just remember, it's not the fool who makes this kind of crap, but those who buy it. Well, that's it for this time again. I hope you really enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching again. I'll see you guys later. Bye.